All right, my man. Episode 2.
Right on.
Chiro and Myo.
Love it.
Got our chiropractor over here, Jackson, and me, Odyssey. I do myofascial release therapy and a few other modalities to help people.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, man. Do we have anything we want to talk about today?
I think we'll probably start and then it'll just kind of flow.
Yeah.
Well, what's been coming up for you in practice?
What's been coming up for me in practice is, I'm trying to think of my last session. I think just the patterning portion of it. I think the story people tell themselves is very clear. So like the one session I'm really thinking of is a person who really wants there to be one answer, one solution, and one cause. So in a very curative mindset. They basically want a cure. And they're struggling with realizing that the change about that, they're realizing the struggle and the change about that is that oftentimes the problems they're trying to solve there's not one symptom, there's not one cause, and there's not one solution to fix it.
Yeah.
Just the same way that like working out isn't just if you want to grow muscle, you can't just work out. You have to also tune into your diet.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like we talked about it a little bit last time in our conversation about kind of a similar theme about there not being one cause to somebody, how somebody is presenting, or the problems that they are perceiving in their life. It's like, life is so nuanced and multifaceted, and people's life experience, it goes all the way back to, the energetic field and condition emotionally even of the home prior to the state of conception of their parents, of like how were their parents walking through life, what was their stress level, how was the state of their nervous systems prior to conception, and then conception, beautiful conception, and then there's plenty of data about how prenatal stress can affect the growing and developing fetus, which it's not that much of a stretch to understand, and so then all of these things, the prenatal stress, and then a stressful birth, and then life is by nature stressful. There's just no way to get out of the challenging aspects of life.
Yeah.
All of this happens, so everybody's presentation is so individualized, and it's like it's not like, well, you've had that car accident and you're experiencing pain there because of that. It's like that's so reductionistic, and it's like it's a bit more to it than that.
Yeah, different more to it. And even on the physical level, oftentimes when I'm working they're like, oh, I feel pain in my neck, or like I feel pain in my wrist, or feel pain in my. Oftentimes when I work that whole nerve chain, there's stuff going on all the way down, which means they're feeling and experiencing it in one location, but there's multiple locations as you work all the way up that stuff is going on. But they're only feeling one portion until you put your finger on it and they're like, oh, it's sore there, it's sore there, right? It's over there. It's just like, it's amazing how much a little bit of touch can actually bring awareness to someone from actually what's going on. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Awareness is exactly the right word in my estimation. It's crazy how many times I will be working with somebody. You gonna make it there?
I don't know.
But I'll be working with somebody and I'll just be drawn into an area of a lot of tension and there's a lot going on here. And they walked in with no complaint in that area or no complaint at all. And they're on the table and I'm feeling, and I'm palpating around, and I'm asking them, is this area tender? Or they'll just be like, ooh. And I'm like, does this area bother you a lot? And they'll be like, no, I've actually never even been aware of it until you touched it. It's like, that's how cut off they are from perceiving the signals from their body to their brain. It's like, our body is amazing at compensating and has built-in protective mechanisms, right? So like we don't have time to give energy and awareness to all of the pain stimuli. And so we're just like, all right, cut off, disconnect.
Yeah.
So which is like beautiful in one sense because it's a defense mechanism, like survival, because we have to keep going. But at the same time, we also want to be in tune and in touch and feel all there is to feel.
Because what I hear you hitting on is the fact that, yes, in that moment, cutting off the pain helps us move forward. But what it doesn't do is actually help us solve the problem.
Absolutely.
What is the underlying problem?
Yeah.
And if we view that the problem is the alarm, they're like, okay, make this pain go away, as opposed to looking at it from the lens of, oh, this pain is trying to tell me something. What is it trying to tell me? Mm-hmm. And part of that could be that maybe that pain has been misprogrammed, and that like there are issues underneath, and sometimes the issue is that we've learned to have pain reactions where pain reactions don't belong.
Pain reactions where pain reactions don't belong. Yeah. Interesting. I've never heard it put that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
What kind of got me into that was the psychosomatic piece of pain, because like people have pain that presents, and then okay, this pain is presenting. Like, how can we? Because like with fibromyalgia and with certain issues in the body, they'll be just they can't describe why there's pain there. There's no rhyme or reason that they can see why there's pain there. Mm-hmm. And part of that is this pain can become a story. The pain can become a habit in the body, meaning that it's practiced. So there could be an issue there or a small issue, but since that pain is practiced, oh, the injury happened and we dealt with it, but still that pain is lingering, it won't go there. Phantom limb is a perfect example of a manifestation of this type of thing, where people feel a part of the body that's no longer there. It's like, oh, I feel pain in my hand. Well, that hand got lost in an accident. Mm-hmm. So there's this mental component. There's this mental piece that is intertwined into the physical experience. Because it's intertwined in like, okay, you've got problems all up and down the arm, but you're only feeling it in one spot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or you have this pain that we're not feeling, that there's nothing there that's really presenting. So having that mental component is a huge part of navigating any suffering for the person. Like, are we rehearsing our suffering?
I feel like the answer is a resounding yes for most people. Mm-hmm. If they're willing, like if they're able to even feel it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are just so focused on the alarm, the symptoms, and rehearsing it, and that's just like hyper focus on that, and that's like taking all of their energy and attention. Which there's a part of me who that just like desires to help people get out of pain, right? And it can be challenging for me to communicate it in a way of like what is this pain trying to teach you? What lesson is there? Because I guess I have sympathy, empathy for whoever I'm working with.
Yeah, that sympathy, empathy piece, I feel that that's part of the journey. Just the same way like a mother would rock a child to sleep. There's so many messages that I've noticed in our modern world of like, just toughen up and push through and go for, as opposed to learning to like rock our own nervous systems to sleep, bring calm to ourselves. It's just like, oh, okay, if a baby needs this, maybe I need this. Maybe I need that time and space to be witnessed, to feel some care for myself, to allow my own self to slow down before I go to the next task or the next thing, or or be pushed in order to get everything done, and giving that care space and really being like, oh, this care space is important.
Yeah, that's good. It's like there's an element of the inner child that's not being witnessed, or was maybe never witnessed in a younger adolescent age.
Yeah, and I feel it goes back to kind of like this idea of immediacy, that you should just get over it instantly.
Immediacy?
Immediate, like right away.
Yeah.
Right away. It's just like, oh, you need to get over this right away, or we need to fix this right away. When many problems, like the very nature of our nervous system has this wind up and wind down element to it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
as opposed to viewing it as like, okay, this happens and then this should happen. It's just like, no, it spools up, and then giving the time and care for it to spool down.
And I think that, brings up a challenge that I've witnessed in practice with like the communication, because people want the immediacy, right? They're like, oh, I have not taken care of myself, my body, my soul, my nervous system for years and years on end, or even decades, and then, expect to completely unwind and really transform their body and nervous system in a visit, or like they're like, people are even surprised with the frequency of care recommendations, especially in the beginning. They kind of are taken by surprise that it takes time and consistency and momentum to make real change. There's an analogy that a friend of mine who's another chiropractor who just shared with me that I really, really loved, explaining how change can occur in the body and how it takes time. Like thinking of it like a scooter, like a little kick scooter. It takes a lot of kicks in the beginning to get momentum. And then once you kick 15, 20 times, and then you're cruising, you only have to kick every once in a while to maintain that same speed and momentum. So that momentum is headed towards healing and restoration and health. But you have to get it going that direction. You have to retrain the neurology, those neural pathways that have been ingrained. You can think of it neurologically. You can also think of it as like mechanoreceptors, proprioceptors of joint position sense of your spine's been in this joint, in this sense of position for such a long time, and then retraining the neuromuscular posture to be in a new adjusted position. And that's only one element of at least the work that I do, alignment of the spine. But that alignment has to do with the structure, and structure has to do with the function. Structure determines function. So, there's certainly an element. It's not all about alignment, but it's an element of it.
Yeah. It feels like there's this element that the momentum is a form of growth. That people came in and they grew the problem. And now, as we work on people, we're growing the solution.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. But I like people to realize that they don't like need me or the care that I can provide to be healthy and to be whole. Like they're already healthy and whole, but there's just like a new level of expression that you can enter into by engaging in some of this work. And maybe it's for a season whenever your system needs extra support, and then you move through life and you don't need as much care and support. And then you go through some extra stressful life circumstances, and you may need a little added support. And maybe there's a period of time. I like to get adjusted regularly, because I think that life is continually stressful. I have continual stressors happening in my mind, in my body. And so I like to be tuned up. I like to be a clear vessel in order to then serve people to the highest capacity. But I also think it's healthy to take breaks, and don't be so reliant on your practitioner to make you feel better, to make you feel whole. Use the approach, use the tools for how they're supposed to be used, and then, but also with the understanding that, like, the Almighty, the Creator, didn't make us defective. We shouldn't have to have it as this crutch walking through life forever. That's my goal.
Where people feel grounded in their healing, grounded in their own process. Because I feel that that's the challenge of, I think that's why many of the reasons you go to a practitioner is the lessons in learning and awareness that a person gains in that process. Of just like, if I do these things, this is most helpful for me. If I consume these things or have these habits, or this habit is making me feel sick. Just like if I went and ate Oreos if I just ate Oreos as my only dish, like I'd probably feel that. Or I get people in and they're doing repetitive movements in certain ways, and that's affecting their body. It's like, that behavior is leading to this suffering. Yeah. And they didn't really make that connection until they started working with me. And that's probably true for you as well. Like people come in and as they start to become aware and connected with themselves, they realize, this habit, this behavior, and that goes into a huge part of what you're saying is them being able to carry this forward in their own lives. And if they're not aware that certain behaviors and habits are creating toxic patterns in their life, then they'll keep on doing that, and they're like, okay, why do I need all this other stuff to keep on going? I think that's one of the huge things that I see with people who even in my own life struggle with substances. It's like it's very often a solution for something else. And when we figure out what that something else is and able to solve that, then that thing loses so much power. And it's true even in the physical sense of just like, you're moving in a way that is taxing to the body in a really intense way, and addressing that actually shifts other habits, because we build habits in order to sustain the behaviors that we keep doing. So if we're doing something that's toxic for our system, we'll need to build habits and systems in order to keep doing that.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's a tipping point. And
it goes back to the alarm.
Yes.
Because if you're doing behaviors that are going to signal alarms in the body, and you want to keep doing that behavior at the volume that it is, and usually it's people are doing too much of something. So usually it's a volume issue rather than a specific behavior. Is they're doing too much of that behavior, and so the alarm bells are going off in the body, and so it's like, well, I need to keep doing this behavior. So what can I do to like shut off those alarms in order to keep doing that behavior?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that I feel like that reigns true across so many areas of life. It could be alcohol, it could be junk food. Little alcohol is not going to kill you, but excessive will. Little junk food is not going to kill you, but excessive consumption will. And then I even think of like fitness. Like my wife Rochelle and I used to be really into CrossFit, and we loved it. It was so fun. We both were athletes growing up, and then we had a long stint of no athletic competition, nothing, and after high school and college, and then it was like, we got to do something. And then we got into this. It was like so fun and engaging. We were working out together. We were doing it all the time, and we developed unhealthy movement patterns. And we were not doing it in a way that was honoring to our systems. Then the alarm bells started going off. Like why is this happening? And so we had to modulate, had to scale back, had to retrain posture, stabilize our muscles, proper body mechanics in order to continue the behavior in a way that was healthy and sustainable. Yeah, and since we've moved a different direction and do different things for our movement practices now. But it's a concept that I think everybody could benefit from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that just sparked this curiosity pathway of how has as you've learned more about chiropractic in your own journey of movement practices, kind of like go through your journey and like what's led that to where now? Like you're at a certain place now that's, I can only imagine, is definitely influenced by your knowledge of chiropractic.
I want to make sure I understand your question. So are you asking me how my movement practices in particular are influenced by my growth and knowledge of chiropractic?
Let's go with that. Let's go with that one. Yeah.
Sure. I'm a lot easier on my nervous system. I'll say that. Like one aspect of CrossFit, especially CrossFit competition, are metcons, metabolic conditioning. So like maybe a short, like maybe 7 to 12 or 7 to 15 minute AMRAP, or this many, you're doing 5 rounds, 4 rounds, whatever it might be, 10 rounds of these few movements as fast as you can. And you're doing it to beat the person next to you. So you are like sympathetic dominant drive as fast as you can, pushing yourself to the absolute limit where you're like almost sick after. And people do get sick after. I've thrown up after a 3-minute workout because I was pushing myself as hard as I possibly could for 3 minutes straight. So it's taxing on the nervous system. Doing that every once in a while, no big deal. Probably even healthy, like some like like what we've talked about, the healthy stress, but hormesis, but doing that day in and day out, not healthy for you to be in sympathetic overdrive, overloaded nervous system all the time. You will reach a limit where that's when the alarm bells start going off. So just retraining my movement to where like I'm getting my heart rate up, I'm having a little bit of strength time, a little bit of strength balance time, and then a little bit of metabolic conditioning at the end. But even in the conditioning at the end is like, I'm not pushing myself, but I'm getting my heart rate up. It's challenging for me. And I honestly I have been recently erring on the side of like not pushing myself hard enough. And that's just like where I am with my own, mental game. And I'm just like, oh, I don't need to push myself, so I'm not going to. I got my heart rate up. I did a few rounds. I worked for 12 minutes. I'm good. But that's kind of how it's shifted recently. And then taking a little bit of time post-workout to unwind, and just incorporating some mindfulness into slow, intentional movement in the area that I was focusing on that day. So but again, like it's kind of gone like this over the last decade and shifted all over the place. And I kind of enjoy the shift. Keeps me on my toes so I don't get so bored in what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it's just like our own practice is a huge piece of learning. And I love hearing like how your practice has evolved from this like, okay, let's go super hard, to now you're like, oh, I'm exploring what it feels like in that you haven't reached a point. You're still evolving and experiencing, growing. Like, how does this feel for you? How does this journey like satisfy for you as you're on it, and noticing how it affects your health?
Yeah, and I think like ultimately, at the end of the day, I want to look good and move well, and I want to do things that are honoring to my system. And it's like, it's not, I'm not the kind of guy that's like push past the pain. Like I'm in pain, I'm just gonna like push past it. No pain, no gain. Like that seems stupid to me. That seems like it's not supportive for longevity. I want to be moving well into my older age. I see people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and across the spectrum of like some 40-year-old doesn't move as well as this 70-year-old who has been taking care of their body. So I want to be the 70-year-old who took care of his body with longevity in mind. I don't want to be so short-sighted and narrow-minded about like, well, this is the task in front of me, and I'm just going to abuse my body to get it done. It's like, no, let's approach it in a way that is sustainable for the long haul.
I think you were talking about like slowing down, and I've noticed even in my own workout is shifting from I need to push myself to do this amount, to really listening to my body. Really listening to just like, oh, I'm really wanting to listen to like, what is my breath during this movement? Which there's such, and I think this is one of the ways that keeps me really entertained when I work out, as opposed to like the push is like, I need to do 30 reps of 300. It's just like, oh, like, what if I really tune into my body? And that's actually been a really satisfying challenge of noticing like, okay, how do I breathe during this? Or what is my movement? It's like concentrating on the different movements that I'm doing, like really tuning into my muscles as I'm working out. Awareness is a challenging game all in of its own. And I think that's one of the things I really enjoy about working out, and why I do it so often, I do it every day, is because awareness games, and I like to use it as like, it's not, what I've found is like, I enjoy awareness games more than endurance games. And that kind of mentality of we need to push hard, push past the pain, or just go, they're endurance games, which is how long can I do X behavior while I'm feeling Y experience to get Z outcome.
Yeah.
So you're just like, oh, I'm doing all these things. It doesn't like ignore what my body is telling me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes me think of like, well, why? Like, why are you doing it? Mm-hmm. What's your reason behind doing it? Because I think there's a balance of like pushing yourself to the point of uncomfortability, and even like past the point of uncomfortability, and to like in a healthy way of like, you know, I want to push myself because I want to be mentally tough and teach myself that I can do hard things, and then I can show my children that they can also do hard things.
You can do hard things, yeah.
Exactly. And like, we are capable. And that was one thing that CrossFit showed me. It was like, wow, I look at these workouts that I accomplished and even beat other people doing, and it's like, that was not easy. That was really freaking hard. And it was like, I wanted to quit a quarter of the way through, and yet I kept going. And then it's like the you know, what I got out of that was far greater than the pain that I went through. But it's like, if you're just doing it for like, I think you have to have the proper mindset going in.
Yeah, and I think you just nailed on the beauty of endurance games.
Yeah.
It's like there is a beauty and there is a value to playing endurance games. And if that's the only game you play with every part of your life, it's going to cause problems and be things. So it's just like anything. It's like the amount of something.
Balance.
You know?
Balance.
If everything is from that endurance mindset, if it's always chasing, I need to find out what I can do for everything, like that actually pulls us out of the awareness. And I feel that both those things have real beauty. And so when we allow ourselves to experience life in these different areas, in these different ways of just like, okay, which games are really satisfying for me? You know, is do I want to live my entire life in this endurance? And I don't. I really enjoy that kind of awareness of just like, oh, how does my body move? How does the energy move through my body as I'm working out? It actually, the irony is like, I feel that, and I see this, is when we tune into awareness, it actually helps us grow capacity, because we're not pushing ourselves into pain. We're like really listening to our body. And actually, the interesting thing is it actually allows us to have more capacity. Because as you just said, you're not pushing your nervous system as hard. And awareness slows us down as we expand, which actually allows us to do more and have more capacity because we're not jacking our nervous system.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
Fill your own cup. It's a very simple and yet profound and true concept.
Dude, love it. Love it.
Right on.
All right, episode 2.
Amazing.
Call it good.
Yeah,
All right, man.
Absolutely.